And that is one of your homework assignments that you see. I will adjust the due date. But it is essentially the identical net revenue. Okay. This is something that you will something that you can do to try to figure out, it doesn't make sense for you to take on that extra room. Or you just let it slide and not take that reservation, because if we take that reservation, what do we have to do?
You have to clean the room.
Clean the room, you have to launder the linens, all of that stuff. And so what we can do is we can actually identify what is the sorry, it's talking in my ear and I can't talk at the same time. What we can do is we can actually look to see, do we actually want to just let that room slide, or do we want to adjust? We also can look at this to see if we want to change our rate, if it makes sense to change our rate, whether we're going to go up or go down on our rate. And if we're not going to get this identical net revenue, then it doesn't really make any sense to change our rate. We just kind of keep our rate the same, right? And so when we're looking at this is, I want to go over this formula, and then I'm going to pull up that sheet as well for you to we can go over on a couple of those questions. Okay. So for this, we want to take what our contribution margin is. So if you remember, our contribution margin is our rate minus the variable cost. And those variable costs, again, are laundering the linens, replacing the amenities, the hourly wage of the housekeeper, all that information. So we take that current contribution margin based on the rate we have right now. We divide it by the new contribution margin based on what we think we want to change our rate to, what want to fluctuate. If you need a copy, just let me know. Anybody need a copy? We still have it. It looks like this. Okay. Let me run to my office in just a second. Okay. Okay. So here we go. We take that current, we divide by the new, and then we're going to multiply it by our current occupancy. Okay. So everyone take a picture of this. Don't worry about the 100. Okay. Don't worry about the 100. I'll show you why in a second. So we're just going to multiply it by that current occupancy percentage. Okay. So take a picture of this or write it on your notes page, and I'm going to pull up that extra page so we can work on these together. A couple of examples. So this is what, Amelia, I'll get you an extra copy, but if you will, just take notes for right now. Let me open it up in Excel. All right. Let's do a couple of examples to begin with. Okay, so my current rate is $99. Okay. I'm at a 65% occupancy. And I want to see, what is my identical net revenue? What's the occupancy I need to get in order to have the identical net revenue if I decreased my rate to $89? Okay. My variable cost is $12. So I'm not sharing my screen, I realized. Okay. So I take my current or my new first. What's on top of the formula? Current, okay? So I take $99 as my current rate. I subtract my variable cost of $12. Okay. And on the bottom, I take $89 and subtract that $12. Okay. So what's 99 minus 12? 77? 87. Okay.
Over 77.
The bottom one's going to be 77. So if I divide 87 by 77, what do I get? Should it be a higher than 1 or lower than 1? It should be higher, right? Because the number is on top is larger. Okay, so 1.13, that's my factor. Okay. Now, what is 65% as a decimal? Okay, so your book is going to say you're going to multiply by 0.65 times 100. Remember we had that on the back end of that formula? What happens if you multiply 0.65 times 100?
Becomes 65%.
Becomes 65. So that's why I say drop that 100 off the end of your formula and go ahead and just multiply by the 65. There's no sense in doing extra work of making a decimal and then the math bringing it back to a whole number of 65. So 1.13 times 65 is 73.5% occupancy. So what this telling me is if I want to decrease my rate by $10, in order to have the identical net revenue, right? Net revenue means I'm taking out my variable costs from both rates. So in order to have the identical net revenue, if I want to drop my rate down by $10, I have to increase it from 65 to 73%. That's an 18.5% increase. Okay. So do you think you'd want to do that? Would you want to drop your rate down to $89? What do you think? Yes or no? Thumbs up for yes, thumbs down for no, thumbs sideways for I have no idea what you're asking me, Ms. Sheehan.
Big increase.
Okay. So I would answer this question as it depends. If this is tomorrow, do you think I'm gonna, by decreasing my rate by $10, do you think I'm gonna increase my occupancy by 16% tomorrow, between today and tomorrow? Probably not. I'm gonna leave it the same, right? Because if I leave it the same, I'm gonna get the same amount of revenue, but I have less work to do because I have a lower occupancy percentage. Okay. Now, if this is 2 months out, yeah, maybe I might consider dropping it by $10 for a little bit, see if that increases my occupancy. But if I don't get up to the 73.5%, I'm actually going to be losing money. So if I drop it by $10 and I only get to 70% occupancy, I'm actually losing money as if I had just stayed at 65 at the rate of $99. Because I still have to clean all those rooms. I still have to pay for the chemicals, I still have to pay for the laundering, the hours, all that stuff. Okay. So let's do another example. Yeah.
Stupid question, just to make sure. I
Not a stupid
understand.
question.
So the 73%, the 73.5,
Yeah.
that's all I'm doing is if I lower the rate by $10, I'm increasing the occupancy by 10%.
I have to get to the occupancy that's based on this formula in order to have the identical net revenue.
To
To
make
be able to have
make
the same amount of money.
like break even.
Yeah, exactly. So if there's not a possibility of me increasing to that 73.5% occupancy, then I'd be better off just staying at $99 and keeping my 65% occupancy. Okay, let's do another example. Hey, Tom, how's it going?
How do I unmute? Hi, David. How are you?
Good. Hey, I'm gonna do one quick example with my students.
You're fine, take your time.
And I will, and then I'll turn the time over to you. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. So I want to be able to record everything. Let's see. Let's use a different color this time. All right, let's use the one straight across. Okay. So our current rate is 109. There we go. Our current rate is 109. We're proposing again going down by $10 to that $99 rate. We're at 85% occupancy and our variable cost is $15. So we do the 109 minus 15. We do the 99 minus 15. Okay. What's 109 minus 15?
94.
94. Thank you. And then 99 minus 15?
84.
84. So we divide those two numbers.
So when we're dividing, do we want 2 digits after the decimal, or do we just want 1, or is there?
Honestly, for what I would recommend is just kind of keep it as all the numbers in there, not trying to round up at that point.
Okay,
Okay, so that way it's easier in your calculator. You could go ahead and round it up to, hold on.
because I rounded for the last one.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, 2 decimal places is gonna be sufficient. So if we did 1.12, for example, on this one, okay? We multiply by that 85%. How about this? You multiply by 1.12. I'm gonna multiply by all the numbers and see what we get a difference. I got 95.1%.
95.2.
0.2, okay. So by 0.1%. 0.1%, when the Canvas is grading it, is probably not gonna, there's probably a margin of error somewhere in that, okay? So again, I need to increase from 85% to 95% in order to consider dropping my rate from 109 to 99, okay? So the rest of the 8 questions are basically the same thing. Now, if you get an answer right here that is over 100%, is that feasible? No. So if it says, in order for me to drop my rate from 109 to 99, I have to go from 85 to
95.
102%, I can't do 102%. Okay. So the more drastic, these are kind of small changes, $10 in rate. The more drastic in the change of rate, the more drastic between your current and your new target occupancy percentage is going to be. Okay. So this will help you with that homework assignment. I will adjust the due date to next week. So that way it won't be counted late on Canvas. And this will just be a very short video about identical net revenue that I'll post to help with that. Let's see, let's stop the recording.